All right, here we go. Right. Yeah, now set that up. All right. Greetings, my fellow divine co-creators, celestial beings of the now. Welcome to Planet Collingwood here on Studio A Revolution Radio. A big thank you to Why Not and crew for the Y-Files. If you enjoyed the last 2 hours, please go to freedomslips.com and or revolution.radio and donate what you can. We are 100% listener supported, 100% volunteer, just 100%. Now, don't donate 100% because you have to pay bills and eat food and let's just say build small scientific machines in your backyard and then put it on YouTube, and then the men in black come and take it because it's a perpetual motion machine, and you can't melt down plastic into oil because your car can run on water. Ooh. This show is sponsored by Q-Heal, Q-Heal, quantum healing hypnosis technique here in Sydney and Melbourne. Well, more Melbourne than Sydney for the next 4 weeks, but we'll get into that. QHeal.com, let Paul do a session with you. They're fantastic. And Flippy, I'm not going through it again. It was awesome. Just do it yourself. All right? It's all right. And also SJ's Ninja Dojo for Squirrels, a place where your fur babies can learn the way of the squinger. SJ's Ninja Dojo for Squirrels. Let your rodent defend you. Religion is slavery. So I can remove that. I can go that. Now, I have been joined because I fell apart, really. Let's be fair. I can also, I can do the intro as an Australian. G'day. Now I've been joined by 2 Australians, our Boston correspondent, if he's still there in Boston. He's looking for his khakis. I don't know if he needs his keys for his car or his pair of pants. But Brandon Young has joined us. Brandon, are you there, my friend?
I'm here, my friend. How are you?
I'm all right. I've been working and doing stuff. Mum's having some health issues and can't see because of cataracts, and so I've sort of I'm a morning person now. So it's 4:00 in the afternoon. It's like, okay, let's do the show. Huzzah! So, but sometimes the comedy gods like me because I am tired, and so anything can slip out. So, but
right.
Overall,
you make
good.
The best out of a worse situation. That's what the comedians do,
Oh yes, yeah. Well, I'm from the English tradition of Australian, where how you going? And the English would say not bad considering. So I'm from that sort of field of things, where it's like things could be worse, much worse. However,
can always get worse.
Never good though.
Yeah, no,
English is never good. How are you? Great. English, no, oh, well, and they'll just go into some diatribe about all the worst things in their life. Jeez.
And please welcome to Planet Collingwood Cortek, whose code name is the Interrupter.
Nice.
Yeah. It's not a goal.
Oh, is it not a compliment?
Yeah, sure. It's like calling a large man tiny.
Move.
Yeah.
Knock.
Oh.
Anyway.
We'll get to that. And someone that has gone through a religious experience, a spiritual breakthrough. Well, no, he's come back and said he's sorry, and we're all moving on, really. So I don't want to bring it up, but I have. Damn it. Pony has come back. How are you, Pones? How are you this week?
I'm sorry.
Well, you get on the fire water and you get upset. You're under very much stress, but it's good comedy.
No, yeah. I'm sorry. I'm sober. But you guys are like an ex-girlfriend. I can only talk to you when I'm drunk. So.
Yeah, issues. Just issues.
But
yeah.
I'm a hypocrite too. So.
Yeah, but you're honest about it. That's what I like. You never hold on fast. Where even when you do 3 hours of code, what was your show called again? I can't remember. I do apologize, Pony.
There is no show.
Yeah, but what was it called? Pony
Global Synopsis.
Yeah, that's so much better than Pony's Corner. But what I love about it is like you would spend an hour and 50 minutes of deconstructing the universe through code, and then say, "But I may be talking out of my bum."
Yeah,
and that's what I love.
You have to put those disclaimers on, otherwise the probability ratios come back and bite you in the ass because you've said it out loud.
Yes. Well, I was going to ask for an hour later on because I got some carried and.
Well, if we make it, we can make it to the. We can have the Planet Call It after party, and You can have a bit
It's
of a walk.
gargantuan. That's how
Yeah.
big this one is.
Yeah, and we can lock you into the studio, and you can go for an hour, and then allow callers to come in the second hour to question your sanity. I mean, give you questions.
Yeah, that won't
Sanchez,
happen.
you son of a bitch.
Yeah, you've got me. Yeah, right. So now, I've had an interesting week. My mum, as I said, is going through some medical things where she has a dominant eye, and like she uses one more than the other. Not like the eye tells her what to do. You're going over there now. I said sit there.
Her dominant third eye.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have a sub eye. I have a sub and a dom eye.
I have a southern. Yeah, my face is. Anyway,
What do you mean by dominant eye? Is it like just staring at you all the time?
No. That's the joke. No. Unfortunately, one eye is 100%, and the other eye is probably 25%. So,
Like me, yeah.
Did you know Aldous Huxley wrote a book when he was losing his eyesight that actually fixed his eyesight?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would believe that actually.
But it's written in really small font, though. I think that was his joke.
Take that, yes, swines.
Here's the power to fix you free of medical advice and pharmaceuticals, but you need to read it.
Yeah. Have fun with that. So yeah, I've been helping out with that. I also now I don't know. I've mentioned this to other people in my reality, and they're going, "No, I don't remember that at all." So, am I bringing this in from my timeline, or just people didn't see it? Or their memories just rooted. Do you remember Ken Burns released a 9-hour documentary about the Civil War in 1989-1990?
Of course.
Oh, good. Yeah, good. I'm glad. It's like that wasn't just my timeline.
I had it on VHS.
Yeah. I recently watched that, and so yeah, my mind's completely troop movements and everything. It's like
It's
when
incredible.
when you binge something, your reality starts acting like let's watch all the Lord of the Ring movies, the extended versions, all at once.
Yeah.
And then the next 3 days was like my horn, my axe.
Yeah. That's a religious experience.
Oh,
For me
well,
it was anyway.
Oh yes, especially if you're on acid.
But the Civil War
guy's
is fascinating.
Yes. Anyway,
But
my
you
point
have
being.
these- oh, sorry.
Well, we can deep dive into Tolkien, where,
No. It was about the Civil War. But,
Oh yeah, the Civil War. Yeah, that is fascinating. Well, did you know? Okay, let's play a quick game, and there's a hint of when it was really the patent for the roller skate. What year was the patent for the roller skate lodged or placed?
Awooga!
Patent?
1926.
Okay, 1926. Pony, if you don't have a number, pick one.
Check your buzzer.
1888.
Okay, and Brandon, do you remember?
I was gonna go with Da Vinci, probably patent, but that's not really a patent. So patent office established.
We're talking
I'm gonna
about
go with
patents that can be suppressed so society can't move forward.
Yeah.
That kind of patent.
Check out these new
Oh,
plates.
okay. 1863.
Correct. It was 1863 because it's actually what and in one of the episodes where they're setting up, in 1863, blah 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 blah.
Is that
Karl
true?
Marx. Yeah, it was apparently the patent for the roller skate was lodged in 1863.
You just
Wow,
guessed
I got
that.
it right.
What?
No, what about the Monsieur Petit Bled? He painted the roller skate in
Elementary,
1819. 1819.
Yeah, that's after.
Except they're inline.
But-
They're inline. So
Yeah, but you did point out, yeah, like rollerbladers. Yeah, the problem about telling your parents you're into rollerblading is that
you
you're
got
gay.
that. You got that the other way around.
I know. Well, see, that's how I deconstruct my humor, where it's so bad it's funny anyway. That's wrong. It's
It'll
still
always
funny.
get funny. It'll always get funny again if it goes into that little uncanny valley of
Yeah,
non-humor.
Yeah. So what I found fascinating is the level of technology, and dare I say, I know I'm in an American radio station.
Dare.
Brace yourself, my friends. But your country's stuffed. I mean, we Declaration of Independence, yeah, and you've got the Constitution. We the people, yeah, it brackets white landowners and brackets we're all equal. And so it took 75 years, 85 years to have a war about this whole freedom thing, and then another 100 years for civil rights, and it's still going on today. Like, maybe that's probably what will make America awesome, if they actually figure out, all men are created equal. If you actually followed that idea.
Yeah, but the problem is that. Go ahead.
No, you go.
No. Let the American please defend.
The one, yeah. In defense of America, I think this happens in every country.
I would totally agree.
Yeah.
And also, the problem is not so much. It's about both sides recognizing equality. Like, for example, like, it's about Black Lives Matter saying all lives matter, and and stop going into tribalism, because we're essentially, most of the population descends into either nationalism or even lower.
Yes,
kinds of trauma to them.
And Brandon, if I may, this is a question for everyone, but Brandon has the talking stick. Can you imagine this whole Black Lives Matter thing if they actually added one word where Black lives also matter?
Wasn't that a big kind of psyop sham anyway? I mean, the person who was running it, she went off and bought 5 houses.
Oh, but it's been around for a while, though. That's the recent stuff.
You got stories from the cops against COVID in Sydney, who put up their site, who would just list basically, we'd like to know why we were told to treat the Black Lives Matter march differently than we treat other protest marches, and just to let them get away with stuff. Right. It's at that level.
Oh, yeah, the level of corruption, and it's all about politics and everything else like that. I'm just putting forward, like, 7 years ago, whenever it was, where Black Lives Matter was created, like, the idea is good, the organization's bad. If they actually was Black Lives Also Matter, we wouldn't have all this friction.
And you'd have a better name. They'd be called Blam.
Blam! Not
Blam.
BLM, what, the Bureau of Land
Management.
Management.
Onomatopoeia. How can you go wrong?
Exactly.
I think I saw it in a Batman, the old 60s Batman.
Yeah,
where they
next to Kapow.
Blam.
I mean, I'm a follow. I follow Chuck D from Public Enemy on Instagram, and it's like, everyone stay woke, and Black Lives Matter. I'm like, nah.
Yeah, Chuck, you can't use the W word really and still sound plausible in the rest of your sentence.
Well, that unfortunately that like gay and Negro, but the other way they say it, it's been taken out of context. Because, gay meant happy, not anymore.
Yeah, but it was stolen.
The
word was stolen.
Well, the thing it was stolen from the civil rights group, where being woke, which they meant awakened to, awakened to the corruption that is in the system because of certain people. But it's like, you have to woke, which is past tense. It's like, I woke up. Yeah, but you probably went back to sleep again.
It's meaningless.
It is meaningless.
I'd rather be awakened. I'd rather be awake than woke.
Yeah. The funny thing is, you have this thing called fake woke going around.
Fake
it's like, okay.
That's a great track.
Yeah, but if you can't establish what woke is, how can you establish what fake woke? It's just so confusing.
And I mean, you've heard the term "go woke, get woke, go broke." It's actually made it into the mainstream now, where we're up against the SGWs in woke. Now, the principle of these things, like woke being awake, it's being awake to corruption, and there's a lot of corruption. So you're waking up to it. It's when people say, I've had the Great Awakening. Yeah, you're just talking about the political theater. There's another 99% of reality.
You've just climbed over your wall of cognitive distance to admit there is a problem further. Keep climbing.
Right. I think some people just think woke means being high.
Like lit or something.
Yeah, and you've got anti-fascists strange. I am anti-fascist, but I'm also people that call themselves Antifa who act like fascists, and you need to come. And all social justice is like, well, I'm for justice, and social justice is under that umbrella. Trans rights, gay rights, black people rights, but that would be all under human rights. See how I get in trouble because I don't go for this whole divide and conquer thing.
Right.
I mean, we could talk about metal bands, and then all bets are off.
You probably do a pretty good game of Simon Says too. Don't get caught out very often.
Yeah. Now, I must say, for those people from the metal world, we are in mourning because the news of Joey Jordison came out that he passed away on Monday.
Who was he from?
Mr. Interrupter, I was getting to that. He was the Yeah, it is not. It's code name for bastard. Yes, asshole. He was 46. He was the original drummer in Slipknot.
Oh right.
I did hear about that.
As did.
Yeah, and he basically
Kirk is hospitalized.
for the last 25 years, he's been an inspiration. A lot of people drum because of him. And so, and this is 2 days after the lead singer of Metal Church passed away, and he was 55. So, in rule of three, it won't be me. Not yet, anyway. But
Bob Odenkirk is in the hospital. I will say this, and my thoughts and prayers. Bob Odenkirk better.
Now, and also, as someone pointed out in the chat room there, problem with the vax. Don't know. They haven't mentioned that. Mind you, hard
Jackie
living.
Mason?
He had there's a lot of people. Sometimes it could be COVID or what's referred to as COVID, which could be influenza being mislabeled because.
Right.
The influenza is a bit of a bitch. But what I found interesting.
Are we into COVID corner yet?
Yeah, I was just going to wheel into just like getting into the COVID couch in the COVID corner to go Cortek. Let's talk COVID.
Just get it out of the way. Get it out of the way. Week 71
week 7
of 2 weeks to flatten the curve. Get that out of the way.
Actually, I shared on Twitter. It's like it's the problem with the 5-day lockdown is it's the first 4 weeks. We're up to I said we're up to week 70 of a two-week lockdown. Basically, what we've gone back in time, found the curve, and removed its bloodline from the timeline. That's how much of to flatten the curve. We didn't flatten the curve. We went back in time and removed it, removed its bloodline from the timeline. Can't remember which day. I think Thursday or Friday. 140 cases of positive cases in Sydney out of 85,000 tests. 141 cases, 1 death, which is unfortunate because I'm that type. Anyone dying? Yeah. That's unfortunate. I know. Once again, I'm pretty open and weird that way.
No, but
now apparently one person in the 141, one person was only had 1 vaccination. Everyone else was completely vaccinated.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying there wasn't any unvaccinated people that had COVID.
That's what happened in the UK as well. Shit just hit the fan when everyone had their second one.
Yeah, and so it's I understand people saying burn your mask, burn your bras if you want to got to stand up and acquiescing and everything like but the man with a stick doesn't care about you not wearing a mask. They'll beat the living crap out of you because their belief system is like you've seen the fine Australian police force in all swing. Like there is a small group of people who are going, well, no, this is shite.
Yeah.
We need to do better. What's going on? There's corruption here. But then there's other ones. I'm just following orders. Boot, 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 boot.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just following orders.
California,
power tripping.
California's the same thing. You got Gavin Newsom, who's this governor that just put in a mask mandate. And I'll tell you guys something real quick that I helped write a song tonight with somebody who's I can't say who.
You play it?
She is. Who?
Get to the point. Yeah, you're going to write a song
with
someone. When the song has been released, he'll tell us who it is. Shut up, Cortek.
It's called Greedy Newsom. Seedy Newsom.
Yeah, well, Newsom is a nuisance.
Greedy Gavin. Wait, when the song comes out, it might be used by a certain trans Republican hater of Newsom.
Sounds catchy.
Ooh. Well, the song, not the description of said person. Yeah. Well, more of a finger man.
But we'll see. We'll see. Fingers crossed.
You got to play the guitar somehow, Cortek.
No. Monty just said finger man.
I'll give you a hint on the first verse. It's like
just hum it to us.
It's like wildfires Roberts across the state, Newsom, sipping wine, economy's on the fritz, Newsom's putting on the Ritz, it's greedy Gavin, seedy Gavin, greedy Gavin, it's something like that.
Yeah, you got to start to get some rhythm towards the end.
Yeah, no, Gav's going down.
It's like
Sorry,
a Bernie
Gav.
Taupin.
Take that,
my
Gav.
relationship. It's like Bernie Taupin and Elton John. It's like the person who is kind of like the menuise. And like, if you've ever seen Cloud Atlas, that movie,
twice. First time I didn't get
it. Yeah.
Well, that's the type of film you want to watch. I'm going to watch that again. Why? So I can understand it.
I was only half watching it the first time.
I've read the book. And the movie, and I'm obsessed with the guy, the older guy at Sondheim, who's the composer, and he has, I forget the British actor's name, transcribe his music, and he writes the Cloud Atlas.
Yeah.
Robert Frobisher. Anyway, he plays a menuess. So anyway, I have one of those where I just say, it goes like this.
Yeah.
Where did you learn to play music? Not like that.
Yeah,
yes. Now you're
like
getting
the whole
it.
Elton
Yes,
John thing. Like, I don't. Elton John would get these bass poems. They didn't have to be good, but the lyrics, they told story, and that's the relationship he's always had. He would get the lyrics from Bernie, who just wrote like, this sounds good, and I know Elton or Dwight will actually do wonders with this, and that's the genius of Elton John. Like, I don't think he's written lyrics at all ever,
right?
But he knows how the music, the melody, and how everything is structured, and that's why he's huge.
Strange. Yeah, it's just a weird relationship with music. It's like, I've never listened to a lyric. I don't like lyrics. I hate them. I hate the freaking things, I write music.
It's so funny for someone who can deliver them so well not to want to write their own.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually watched his film, I'm Still Standing, and I don't know if it's like the Queen movie apparently is not 100%. It's like, it's a story. And
what a great sorry.
And also, at the same time, you had the Motley Crue film come out as well, and so there was like 3 or 4 biopics come out, and just turn your brain off, and especially in the Motley Crue one, where we had blah 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 come in and say this thing and blah, then the next character walks in, it's like, that didn't happen, because that's actually how the book was written. So
really, I have to see this.
Yeah, The Dirt. That's was on Netflix. Motley Crue. I haven't read it. I'm not a big
Nikki
fan
Sixx,
of.
is that the guy's name?
Mm-hmm.
He wrote a biography.
Yes, The Heroin Diaries. Yeah,
called The Heroin Diaries, which my friend who was on heroin was obsessed with. Not ironically. So.
Yeah, a lot of users actually connect with that story because they understand. Yeah. Well, hey, Nikki survived. And it sort of gives hope. It's like they don't revel like, I'm a user. It's like, no, we can. It
doesn't really glorify it.
No, it's more of like, don't do this. And if you are, it's a warning. And also, it's help me out here. It helps people who are trying to. That's the way. Yeah, it's like, oh, okay. He feels the same. He's done it. He's done it as well.
You'd be impelled to read the book just to see if there was a way out at the end of it.
Yeah, it helps. It does actually help. Yeah, it's not a cure for heroin addiction, but it's helped a lot of heroin addicts.
But it's a cure for rock and roll.
Well, yeah, unfortunately, Motley Crue
there
crap.
Ain't
but
no cure for rock and roll.
Some of their songs are okay, but they're live. They're just terrible.
That's a terrible song. There ain't no back for rock and roll.
Yeah,
I heard the best album. Right, my friend plays a game, and he has these weird vinyls that you've never heard of. That are these vanity pressings by people that had to be either rich and or insane.
I love those covers.
Right. And so there's one by this guy named Rick Snow. And the title of the album, he's wearing a cowboy hat and stuff, right? And the title of the album is Beaten, Robbed, and Raped in L.A.
Oh yeah.
And just it's so bad, and so he'll play a track, and you have to guess which of the 4 albums that he has out, like who is singing it, and he has these bizarre songs that you've never heard about, and it's really hard to do. But anyway, funny.
Yeah, and the weird thing is, like, now with the music industry, we won't have big bands anymore. That's because everything was very centralized, and you would hear, and there was a sort of gatekeeping element going on. Now, obviously, there's a reason. There must be a reason why Kiss is popular. I'm not into Kiss. Like,
I never got it.
The show, though, the first dudes to do big shows and pyrotechnics at the time.
The songs are like, but the songs are like, but the shows, oh my God! And I don't say God that often. Like, but oh my flying spaghetti monster.
It's like I remember Sharon Stone said she was really into Kiss, and she went on the Bob Dylan Rolling Thunder review tour, and she was like 18. Her and her mother both did, and she was wearing a Kiss shirt, and Bob Dylan said, "Oh, you like Kiss, huh?" She's like, "Yeah." She's like, "They're like kabuki," and Dylan looked at me, and he's like, "Well, I don't think." He named some Japanese kabuki master from and said, "I don't think Chikimi or whatever
would agree with that.
Would ever spit out blood out of his mouth."
Yeah. Very theatrical. What I do like in what's the name of that Bob Dylan movie with the 4 actors again?
I'm not there.
I'm not there. Yeah. One great line. I think it's Cate Blanchett who's playing Dylan at the time. He introduces someone to, is it Mick Jones of the Rolling Stones?
Yes.
And you go, this is Mick. They're from the Rolling Stones. They're a great cover band. Like, bam!
There's so many tiny details in that movie. I know who made the movie, Todd Haynes, this guy, and who wrote it. And who started it, but there's like even to the background music that's playing at the cafe with Heath Ledger and the paparazzi is taking, like that's Link Ray, and there's a song. He's like, "You're speaking sign language." There's a song that he wrote with Eric Clapton called "Sign Language" that says Link Ray was playing on the jukebox where I was staying or something like that,
And the Beatles as well, where I think they got 500 extras. And they just chasing and screaming, and when Bob Dylan's hanging out with the Beatles, he's like, he's stuck in the whirlwind. But then the Beatles leave, and he's left all by himself, and all the girls just keep chasing the Beatles. It's made very well. If you haven't seen the film, watch it, and if you don't make it through, not being there.
I'm not there.
I'm not there. Sorry.
It has a great soundtrack. Yeah.
Yeah, Christian Bale is Christian Bale, and it's like
Gere.
Yeah, it's worth seeing once, and then if you don't like it, well, at least you've seen.
Kate Blanchett.
Yeah. So
I mean, and then Robert Frobisher, I can't think of the name of the actor, the guy who played Robert Frobisher in Cloud Atlas plays Bob Dylan.
Well, you are on the internet. Go to Wikipedia.
I'm not. I'm on the phone.
Oh, damn you. I like it when people on the internet ask, what's this? It's like, you have the Library of Atlantis at your fingertips, and you're asking me a question, but you're on your phone. It's
one of those things where the name is on the tip of the tongue, and plus I don't want to. But if somebody can look that up.
It's not going to say, well,
question.
Oh, yes.
Question.
Answer. Sorry.
Wasn't Heath Ledger associated with the Dylan thing?
Yeah, he's one of the there was 4 actors, and he was one of them.
It was his very last role, wasn't it? Or was that Doctor?
No, it's near the end. His actual last role after The Dark Knight, he went on to
he played Q.
Dr. Parsnip or something.
Yeah, the Pasadena.
The Illuminati movie.
Yeah. And he died during that. So
who's the guy that plays Q in the new James Bond?
Oh, I'm trying to remember.
That's him.
Okay. I can't remember.
I know.
Hang on a second.
And I'm a Bond head. I am a Bond head as well. I like to fancy myself as a Bond head. But the that original that is the guy who plays Robert Frobisher and Bob Dylan in the same. So he has good taste.
Heath actually died making that Terry Gilliam film, and he was extremely happy as well. So because people thought, oh, he did The Dark Knight, so obviously he was, depressed and everything else like that. And then you see he was having a ball on Terry Gilliam's set. So someone who isn't Terry Gilliam we've been joined by Hijacker. Hijacker, how are you?
I just saw. Hey, Hijacker.
Pretty good. So I'm here to hijack.
Well, you can try.
Oh, no. You all think about what you're talking about. Yeah. You're talking about records and music.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, your country's getting ready to be enslaved.
We've been enslaved it's a penal colony for 200 years.
Here we go. Keep going, Jacker.
What's wrong with you? I mean, really, what's wrong with you all Aussies? You only got 30 million people.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't you get Monty's joke? Thought that would lead to a little chuckle.
But we'll have half the people actually believe it.
What else you got, Jacker? Because we've heard this rhetoric before. It's a bit deflective, but go on. Got anything else? Apparently, Moderna is still looking for 180 candidates to be guinea pigs for official mRNA trials.
Some people actually think they'll be heroes by doing it. I'm like, well, good luck with that.
So righteous. It's so.
Well, it was announced today
that's
that
a
Sydney
good question.
Nancy, what the hell am I talking about? You're all Nancy's. Sydney is going into lockdown for another 4 weeks, and but the thing is, you got the flip side where the pushback of the people, where like we've had enough. Victoria's just coming out of its 5th lockdown, and we still have to wear you're allowed to go to a pub, but you can't have friends over.
Yeah, and I would say, can I just say this in response to Hijacker? Why do we talk about music? Why are we laughing? Why are we having a good time while Rome burns around us? It's because there's a thing called a lament. And when things pass away, they're put into songs.
Yeah, also on the flip side is we have to remember why we're trying to save the planet, like all the good things.
Right. We touch on several disciplines and topics, and we're conversant. We just don't have the hyperbolic beliefs, irrational beliefs that have constantly been proven wrong over and over and over and over.
As well as Planet Collingwood on Revolution Radio is to be a pressure valve and release, because there's 2 studios that run 144 hours a week. And I think I can do 2 hours of silliness while the rest of the station does what it does quite well as well.
Did you also, while we're in the corner, did you also see that CDC alert?
Yes, I did share that.
Can we bring that up shortly?
Of course we can. Yeah, for those playing at home, the CDC has now decided that the PCR test will be phased out by the end of the year, and labs and testing will have to find another way of finding the COVID.
After December 31, 2021, CDC encourages laboratories to consider adoption of a multiplex method that can facilitate detection and differentiation of SARS-CoV-2 and influenza viruses.
Yeah.
Basically saying that up until now they couldn't. That's what it says to me.
You wonder why flu and influenza disappeared, because it's been mislabeled as COVID. And you add on top of that the amount of fear that government and media have been ramping up, which lowers, if you're in fear, it lowers your immune system. And so we don't know what's going on. And I mean, they still say, the Delta variant's more dangerous than the original one. It's like, well, science doesn't agree with you, because that's not how it works.
They would know if they're introducing it. But it's ridiculous.
Yeah. So it's
you can't trust the stats.
Remember we were saying we're talking about this last week, and it was a surprise to me that the guy who invented the PCR test died in August 2019. This guy's name is Kary Mullis, Kary Mullis. You won't find
like
any
a mollusk, like a sea serpent.
Mullis, I think.
Like a scallop.
Kary Mullis. This is the dude that invented PCR tests. So it's really, really interesting to hear what he has to say, and as well as when people are wondering about these things and looking into them more. Seems like a way for them just to get rid of this is why they're phasing it out. It seems like, but this dude, you should hear what this dude says. This Carrie Mullis in an interview, he's talking about all this kind of stuff, and he's not doing it in kind, positive terms. He's paying the shit out of these people, all of these people who don't know shit about science. He's going, this Fauci guy, he thinks that you can put someone with a blood sample who's got the virus under a microscope, and you could tell if they've got the virus. These guys don't know anything about science, nothing about microscopy or anything like that, and yet he found when he made these things and he was at the forefront and leading edge, that he found there's no old white men standing up there, the heads of science to guide people the right way. There's just whoever's talking loudest. Yeah, I don't know.
It's funding as well, where certain scientists can't think out of the box because they'll have their funding pulled, and so they have to stay with a certain narrative. And you can see that, like here in Australia, I know in Victoria,
modern day science.
Yeah. Turning to the person in the white coat. Yeah. The white coats are coming. The
priesthood in white.
The hydroxychloroquine.
Nice.
Thank you. I'm getting better at it because I just thought it's like Harley Quinn, and the other one starts with I as well. I can't remember exactly.
Ribonucleic acid.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say that name in Wales of that town.
In Welsh, it's hyponucleated.
The Quinn. But my point is that both of those have been banned in Victoria since February 2020. And so possible treatments for the COVID SARS-2 has been removed. No one's explaining about eating healthy food, boosting your immune system, getting vitamin D through sunlight, and doing exercise, apart from us. And that's what it's like. That's what I mean. Why? I asked the question: How could so many people dismiss the pandemic? Well, the government's full of shite, for starters.
Number
Go
one.
ahead.
Yeah.
I'm seeing so many different interpretations. Everyone's being left to their state government or local officials' interpretation of what can be boiled down to dangerously incompetent vagueness in terms of what they need to do and what's the right thing to do. And so you've got this broad spectrum of activity and thoughts about what's going on. You've got, depending on what people are doing, some people are trying to, just waiting for some kind of exit strategy from this. But there is none. The government is far too comfortable where they are.
Yes, they tried, though. They said, get vaccinated and everything will go to normal. Yeah, they've changed their mind.
And then everyone gets vaccinated, and then it becomes, we can't travel if it's that country, and it's like it's like one of those dance floors on Saturday Night Fever where all the colours are changing, and you got to try and step on the one that's got colour, but you don't know what's going on. Yeah, that's a really poor analogy.
Here in Melbourne, nightclubs are open, but dancing is banned.
It was a cool visual.
Oh my God, Melbourne's become Footloose town.
Yeah, it's at the level. Like, I understand Jacker's passion of what's going on with you Australians. Well, we're doing it slightly different, where we'll be annoyed enough that we'll probably have to do something. It's like the British. It's like Mick Marsden from Pink Floyd, when there was tension in the band. It got that bad, we nearly said something. Mick Mason, sorry, yes. Mick Mason.
They're polite British people.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it nearly got that bad. We nearly said something. Australian is still like we don't have the background of the United States, where like the civil war, where it's about state rights. Yeah, but part of the state rights is to have slavery, so it is about slavery.
I said to Sid. I said, Sid, mate, why'd you want to go to Pompeii and record live in Pompeii? We just did Umaguma.
Well, no, he was out of the band by then, and then after.
But this was the Civil War. This is the real Civil War, mate.
No, it was Roger Waters and everyone else. And what I like is after Dark Side of the Moon, they achieved everything with that band. It still sells today. It's like it's referred to in music as like we like Cortek and I should. Yeah, it's if we record an album, hopefully it's our Dark Side of the Moon, which means it just continually sells. The next album, Wish You Were Here, is all about Syd Barrett, because they achieved all the dreams and goals they had when Syd was in the band.
And then he showed up.
And he showed up during the recording, and they didn't know who he was because he was bald and fat, compared to looking like a toilet brush, skinny and massive hair. Rick Wright, the Rick Wright, it took a while. I was like, who's this guy? And then once Rick Wright found out, he broke down and cried, because the change it wasn't Syd that they remember. And they were mixing "Shine On You Crazy Diamond," which is a song about Syd. And he's in there, and it's like, whoa. I mean, eventually it's like, they listen to one mix, and it's like, I'll listen back into again. And then Syd pipes up, it's like, why? You've heard it once. And I'm like, yes.
Yeah, but his two solo albums are amazing. Baby Lemonade.
I haven't heard them.
Oh,
yet.
They're fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. From the mind of a madcap. And it's like, because
the madcap laughs.
Yeah. Heavy use of acid.
The madcap. Yeah, he's kind of an acid casualty, unfortunately, and he had a predisposition to paranoia.
Yeah, he passed away, and he didn't want to talk about Floyd at all, and
drank milk, rode a bicycle.
Yeah, he did all that type of stuff. I think he lived in Cambridge for a while.
Yeah,
and he still received royalties, because as the band got popular, the early albums was like, I mean, what type of? That's the other thing. They were all on drugs. No, Syd was the only ones on drugs. Everyone else was just arty. And so they came up naturally. Be careful with that axe, Eugene. How can you be completely sober and come up with a title like that? And it's an 8-minute instrumental or something. Yeah, it's
you can't. The best albums of music of ever were not made, by people who weren't exploring consciousness. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, and so I mean, when people make fun of prog rock, it's the Pink Floyd template, because Dark Side of the Moon was so huge, and that's why you had the backlash and where punk rock came from, because it was you don't have to learn to play, just learn 3 chords and write a 2-minute song, and
look at Johnny
that's
Cash,
music.
Though.
It's got energy. It's got a lot of power.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, when it's good, it's good. But when it's bad, it's really bad. But
that's old. I mean, that's like Carter Family and Johnny Cash. Like, they were just 3 chords in the blues. If there were,
that's what I said. When it was done good, Johnny Cash knew he knew what he was doing. Especially he released 4 albums with Rick Rubin, and he did covers of Soundgarden, 9 Inch Nails, and it's just him and the acoustic guitar
and Tom Petty. And he like, even Tom Petty said that song's not mine anymore. He's like, that's Johnny Cash's song,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like, oh well, Johnny's got that one now.
I won't back
down. Yes.
I might as well sign over the rights.
I mean, I still I mentioned it last week. The Bill Hicks stuff about Bob Dylan. When you discovered Bob Dylan's lyrics, it's like, oh my God, this man's a genius. For a while there, it's like, why does everyone like him? It's C, G, C, G. Who cares? And because they're just doing, because he's folk and he's just playing 2 chords.
Well, but with simple chords, you can concentrate on what he's saying.
Yeah, and simple doesn't mean not profound.
There's nothing simple about any of his lyrics and what they
Zen
pertain to.
Yeah, some of the lyrics depends on the song, but some contain a lot of references and all that zany stuff. But I think some of the most profound stuff,
because he's folk and he's just playing 2 chords.
Well,
but with simple chords, you can concentrate on what he's saying.
I'm getting
that too. And simple doesn't mean not profound.
I thought there's nothing simple about any of his lyrics. And what I love one of the most amazing songs.
I'm getting an echo.
I'm getting a feedback. Some are contain a lot of references and all that zany
That's not
stuff,
me.
But
yeah,
I think the most profound stuff.
Because he's folk and he's just playing 2
chords. But with simple chords, you can concentrate on what he's saying.
That too. And simple doesn't mean not profound.
I thought there's nothing simple about any of his lyrics.
Oh, that's just annoying. All right, it's gone now, hopefully. That was Cortek, I believe.
Okay, it's containing a lot of references and all that.
That's not
stuff,
me.
But
yeah,
I think
mute Cortek, mute. Now,
but with simple chords, you can concentrate.
Cortek, mute. Cortek, mute.
that too.
See, when Cortek, it's on you somewhere. Because when you mute, that repeat disappears.
What the hell is going on, man?
I think, unfortunately, Cortek's got a
lot of references and all that.
That's not me,
see that once again. Check your system, Cortek.
I will go check the system. Damn it,
it's Kang. It's Kang, man. It's on a time loop.
There you go. See, it's gone now because Cortek left. So
there we go. Jeez, that was freaking me out.
I know. It's like, wow. I was like, I'm hearing
my
myself.
Own voice. I hate my. Yeah.
Flippy Dean. Flippy's a bit of a fan of the old Planet Collingwood. We'll call it Studio C. Well, yeah. Welcome to Studio C.
Hello.
Did you find it, Cortek?
It was there was a loose wire.
Does the French, Yeah.
Right.
I realized that I love the French. The French are very beautiful people, especially some of the ladies. Let me say, but the French Canadians. I'm not a fan of the French Canadians.
Would you like breakfast with your wine?
Look, I'm giving a cigarette to a baby.
Yes, give it to me. Let's give it a cigarette. Life is. You get used to it. And was that Robin Williams joke?
Yeah. How's such like life? I'll give it to them. Yes, but the thing is, sort of going back to the Y-Files, the show beforehand, where it is your perception, what is actually going on, and so what's happening here in Australia. A lot of people are like going, really, and every day that continues on. Someone is waking up to just the base level corruption, where it's just getting like the premier of Victoria actually said, "I have no idea why these people are protesting," and the reporter's gone, "They're protesting you." Yeah. How out of touch do you have to be?
Lollipop land are you living in?
Yeah, and so there's that whole disconnect where it's they're believing their own propaganda, deadly virus, pandemic, we're all going to die, and yet you go outside and like, well, the sun's shining.
Well, I can understand why Jacker would wonder what the hell's going on when I see reports of overseas people talking about the local free-to-air news here in Sydney that I don't watch. Why would you? It's just awful. But I mean, and these state politicians who really don't know what they're doing at all. Mm-hmm. They're like about 12 different levels removed from what they should be doing, so they're just interpreting as best they can, and most of the time they're just trying to look busy.
No, they know exactly what they're doing. That's the point.
Not at that level.
The point is they're bringing down the second most or the third most powerful white Christian Caucasian nation called Australia, which is probably the richest continent on the earth. And that's what's happening to you.
That's from your point of view. We actually live here, so you're entitled to your point of view. I'm not sure where you get that from,
people, right? I mean, let's agree on the numbers. Right? You got 30 million people, right? Give or take a couple of million. Right?
It's 25, 28. Yeah. Under 30. Yeah.
Okay. All right. The Chinese got 1.4 billion people.
Here we go.
Yes.
It's like a broken record, Jack, honestly.
But apparently China's not in the best position as well. I mean, you've got all the flooding. I still have to watch that video where China may not be around in 5 years because their system is collapsing as well.
Yeah, they might go on about they're having a great rising economy and all that kind of stuff, but really they're a totalitarian dictatorship. They've got that to deal with.
I got the chance to visit China a few years ago, way back. And I went to the Great Wall, and that's supposed to keep out people and barbarians and stuff. But it's not the Great Wall of China. It's the all right Wall of China. It wasn't even that great.
It's not that all right.
It's pretty long.
It took a while. You can see it from space, allegedly.
I think it's a good effort. I'll golf clap that.
That's a lie too from space.
But
Like, you can, like,
but they're at this
level.
Yeah, the Chinese are actually attacking the Canadians because the Canadian government there's all these native kids buried in mass graves, which have been known by people for years. That's
uncovered decades ago.
Yeah, and now the government and the media are focusing on it. Very similar
it's like Joni Mitchell wrote about it in 1974 about the Magdalene laundries or whatever.
Why they bother focusing on it when we know that they're not going to do anything about it? Goes all the way to the top.
It's China's like, how can you attack our human rights record when you're doing this? It's like, yeah, but we've stopped doing it, China. You're doing it today. And China apparently got upset because I think it was NBC in America. They didn't have they showed the map of China and Taiwan wasn't on it, so they had a huff. Oh, by the way, the Olympics are still going on for those who don't care.
In Tokyo, yeah.
I watched a little bit of skateboarding.
I watched the horses. Yeah.
Yeah, I have no interest and I don't care, and no one's there, and it's a super spreader, and it's like, well,
it's so soulless. Oh my god. Oh my god, there's no one in the stands. It's just
everyone and all the athletes are doing the political stuff. I saw someone kneeling at a judo thing. It's like, just kick him in the face. Kick him in the face.
What did that mean? Was that a statement of some sort?
Well, yeah, it's the virtue signaling. It's so like now obviously the people that agree with that, and if I pointed out, well, what Black lives don't matter, it's like don't do a duality thing on this.
I heard on the radio a millennial getting on there going, actually, I think there's a millennial crisis, and I'm going, oh my god, when you guys all you seem to do is just whinge about things, and now you're just whinging about yourself. God,
so emo.
Oh my god, it's not even emo. Emo had some cool music associated with the Fringe. You can swipe over one eye.
But there is a genuine problem with the younger generations today, because there's this hopelessness that's out there, and the mental illness is getting larger, bigger. There's more people with mental illness because of just the reality that's been put out there. Suicide's going through the roof, and like the kids getting the message from the mainstream media is like there is no hope. And so they're dealing with it. Like, I'm Gen X. I went through the 90s. I know about depression. We were paying
attention when 9/11 came along. So when this happened, we kind of saw a lot of the same patterns. A lot of people, this is their first major false flag.
And I'm not attacking the younger kids. It's because of just how the reality they're in, where they don't see any hope of going. There is hope, obviously, because we're still doing stuff, talking about stuff and everything else like that. But if you keep getting told by your teachers in elementary, primary school, the world's going to end in 10 years, what do you think a growing mind thinks of that?
Come on, we had exactly the same thing. It was nuclear
but not at this level.
Decimation. Yeah, it was exactly the same level. Anytime someone can send an ICBM and everyone could die. It's always this constant fear game going on.
Yeah, but I shared a meme where it's like, and that's why white men are terrible. Am I in the wrong class? I thought this was calculus. This is calculus, where that's the level of the universities now. It's all virtual signaling and changing the minds, and instead of like learning how to use calculus.
Poppycock.
Oh yes. It's a schmozzle. I love that word as well. Now we're coming up to. We're near the end of the first half, so.
Chance to go to the toilet. Chance to change the water in the horse trough.
Yeah, feed the cat, go to the toilet, have a cup of tea. Don't mix them up.
Don't mix them up.
Yeah. So you're listening to Planet Collingwood, if you're still listening, here on Studio A on Revolution Radio. We're just looking at things through not rose-coloured glasses, more of an amber-coloured glasses, if you're into the cooking sherry. And trying to make people laugh to break up the energy, because things are kind of getting weird, but also there is a way out. Where, like, I understood what Tony was saying in the show before, where I'm not here to fight. It's like, well, there's an element of that. You can fight for save yourself, save the world, and don't fall for the system's taunting, where you have to fight, and that's how we'll keep you in that sort of energy.
Blackmail's not right. Take some backbone, hold the line.
Yeah.
This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
You're not the only one out there who thinks so.
Yeah, there's many of us, and most of us are nice. Most of us aren't racist, and we just want to live our lives freely. And the New World Order machine keeps plodding along, exposing itself, and it's slowly falling apart. So I'll just say that we'll be back after these short messages. So stick around, and shall continue being slightly humorous. You're listening to Revolution Radio. See you soon. And we're back here at Revolution Radio at Studio A. This is Planet Collingwood. My name is Monty Dean. I have been joined by Brandon Young, Cortek, Pony, and Hijackers milling around at the back. He'll be popping in occasionally. If you enjoyed the last hour, please go to freedomslips.com and or revolution.radio and donate what you can. As Nighthawk just pointed out, we are the longest funded crowd public project on the internet till someone points out that I'm wrong. We're in our 11th year now, I think. I can't numbers, Pope schedules. I can't remember anything else like that. And once you're at the website, pop in and buy some merch, and then join the chat room and hang out with awesome people. So RD47's back. I love that droid. And Flippy, who wants to be me, apparently. They've changed their name to Flippy Dean.
As long as they don't want to do it in your skin, because you're using it.
Yeah, I've seen Single White Female. Yeah, interesting
Can you
movie.
hear me?
Yes, we can. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Brandon Young.
I,
1935.
for one, love early 1935 broadcasting voice. Over to you.
Oh, thank you. Yes, here at the BBC, we are going diverse and losing people listening to our programs.
You sound like Terrence and Phillip.
I did sound like Terrence and Phillip.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks, Pony.
Yeah. I love those crazy Canadians. Your government sucks, by the way. Yeah, good night, everyone. Oh, see you later. Yeah, where do we go from here?
Well, after Uncle Fornicator.
Now?
Yeah, because there's a lot of up in the air, which I get the sense that the powers that were are on the back foot, and they're trying to control the chaos, because they've always had controlled chaos, but there seems to be a bit of natural chaos going on, and
more natural chaos. There would be that chimes with that chimes with just a lot of different levels, looking to where they would usually get what they have to do from, and there being just nothing there. Everyone looked busy.
Yeah. What's the meme I shared? You know, being an adult is basically saying F this and doing it anyway. Well, yeah, but I think a lot of people are getting to the point. They keep pushing the reality where how can you keep, we are free to do what I tell you to do type thing, where a vaccine passport. It's like, well, hang on. Vaccine passport. Are you vaccinated? If vaccines work, why do you need a passport? If vaccines don't work, why do you need a passport?
You speak to people about this logic loop that does not make sense. This herd argument that does not make sense. So if you guys are all vaccinated, then I should be all right, because I may choose not to. I may choose to. But if you have had it, then you should feel more confident in what you're doing, unless you know it does nothing.
And that sort of goes to very quickly, Brad. Remember your thought. It goes into that whole division where the whole the basic element of fighting, where they want people to fight against each other instead of the actual resisting,
divide and conquer.
Yeah, instead of resisting the corruption, where people are grandstand. I'm fully vaccinated.
So
that's
righteous.
Nice.
So righteous too, and they go, and you start a conversation about that, and they go, say, why did you do it? Says, well, if borders open up and stuff, I want to be kind of first in line. I'm like, did you get that in writing? Did you get? Is there anything that you got apart from a couple of biscuits or something, and a little pat on the bum as you went out the door?
Now, it has been a not premonition, an idea has been put forward that the whole COVID thing, the narrative will peter out at the second half of 2023. Yeah, another 2 years of this crap.
Yeah,
but
no,
the
thanks.
narrative, but it's slowly dwindling. The spell's not working. The narrative's not working. So they'll find something else because there's too much resistance and blowback where. Remember back in the days, those heady days of 2019, where you could ask a doctor for a second opinion, or medical health was private. Like, no one's actually asked me if any ladies ask me like, are you vaccinated? I'm just like, well, have you ever had an abortion? If we're going to go full blown transparency, full transparency of medical history.
How did that date go?
Yeah, I haven't done it yet because I
Let me just say I haven't used that line twice.
Yeah, I don't do that to many times.
Mrs. Dean is happily married.
Yeah, that's right, ladies. I'm single.
0 kids.
Once you go vax, you never go back.
Vax. Yeah, you go vax, you never goes vax. But is it a vaccine?
No,
it's gene therapy, and it's what I find interesting is that like even the Fauci emails where. Complete corruption. He's saying stuff privately which contradict what he was saying publicly.
Completely.
And the story's good. But the story's not gone because it didn't gain traction. Where like it's the whole thing about UFO
swept under the rug.
Yeah, like the whole UFO. Oh, the Pentagon's releasing a report about UFOs, and it was basically, we don't know.
We still don't know.
So. When the state put Socrates to death, he willingly drank the hemlock.
Yeah.
Because there are certain things that he said, and this is true, that the state can never take from you. Number 1 is your soul. Mm-hmm. Number 2 is your spiritual freedom. Number 3 is your humor, and that's the thing that they detest the most. They did the same thing to Christ.
Interesting enough.
Although he wasn't making jokes too much.
No. Well, no, actually, I would say he would have. I mean, he wouldn't be maybe they were
guys.
Jim Carrey.
Maybe they were guised in parable learning.
But I'm sure
smoking.
Jesus, the man that is Jesus Christ is based on, he would hold the crowd in the palm of his hand. He would be funny.
Not literally.
No. Not Bill Burr funny type.
He wasn't
thing,
a giant.
Kind of like a Three Stooges funny.
Yeah, exactly. He would still have
changers.
Yeah, he would still have humor in there, and because it's part of life. Like
flip over a table.
If you, boing, it wouldn't be like that. But if you look at all the high spiritual masters or people that the channelings and everything like that, anyone that has a higher frequency has this wicked sense of humor. And what I mean by it's not wicked in the traditional sense where they put down everyone. It's a high level where they find humor in a non-threatening way most of the time. Like I remember Bashar, not the leader of Syria, he does questions from the audience, and this lady was saying, I work for SETI. And he said, what's SETI mean? Oh, the Search for Intelligence Life. Well, you found me. Bang, straight off it's that type of humor.
Call the office.
Yeah, it's like a Zen koan almost. You can see it in all different cultures. It's that aha moment. It's the Satori moment of
and there's an element.
Funny. It's like because that's life. That's the cosmic joke.
It's not Schadenfreude, laughing at someone's pain. It's not that level. It's the opposite of that, where you can make jokes. Like I remember, if you remember, a family member of Revolution Radio who passed on. I've gone blank on his name. Oh, that's not right. He's Californian and Rectify, the mighty Rectify.
R3.
Still he's still probably giggling from a higher place at the moment. But I remember saying that you come from a place of love, and that's basically where my belief engine is. You go with love instead of all the negative emotions. And he generally asked, and not putting it here, but what about if someone's punching you in the face? And I just straight off the bat said, I'd love him to stop that.
Defending myself.
And Rectify laughed for about 45 seconds because it's like, see how I'd love you to stop doing that.
And I'd love to stop punching you back, but I just love it too much.
Yeah, remember
at that point.
Yeah, my pinned tweet on Twitter is love everybody, respect everything, do no harm, but don't take any crap. And because you're allowed to defend. Even Gandhi said, like, he wasn't against guns, because if he came home and someone's trying to rape his wife, he wouldn't say, "Oh, okay, I'll sit down and meditate." No, he would shoot the mother lover, basically, because there is that you can defend yourself.
Yeah,
that's the idea.
But there's also the willing sacrifice too, which is even a more profound and almost a more difficult thing to do. But anyway.
Yeah.
The old,
you know what I mean?
The old Witwicky, no progression without sacrifice, or something like that.
Yeah, and that's what separates certain figures, historical sages, I think, separate from whether it be Confucius, Christ, or Buddha, and Gandhi. It's that willing sacrifice of the flesh, essentially, for the spirit and for the change of the world. But with that, you're right, comes this great sense of humor.
Mm-hmm. And also, it's about compromise. To quote Genie from Aladdin, you'd be amazed what you can live through.
Yeah.
And so it's like when people keep having, you're Australian, you're a slave and you're in lockdown and stuff. Yeah, I've been a hermit for 7 years. It's everyone else has turned into me. And every day that this keeps going on, more people are waking up to the corruption of, like, well, hang on, that doesn't make sense. Like, right now, you can have 10 people at a bar, but you're not allowed to have friends over to your house. Like,
dumb.
And if you want to look at some pure comedy, just look at the UK for the last 12 months. Just the ridiculous of it, where you have to wear a mask. You don't have to wear a mask to a restaurant. You have to put the mask on in the restaurant, walk to the table, sit down, and then take the mask off.
Why are these rules still here when we know the person who was really the loud mouth for the stuff is a complete liar?
Because they ignore it. They still it's still because people are still dying. The thing is, this happened in 2019 and 2018 and 2017. The only difference is that
before 2017.
History did start in 2016 when Trump's president. Right. Yeah, you know what I mean. It's
isn't there a pattern of fear that's on every single time cover for a particular month, and they've done it like year after year with pandemics and SARS and all this kind of stuff going in. Yeah, just a general level of fear. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's that whole thing. The man with the stick doesn't care about your piece of paper. I think they've got military checkpoints now in Sydney. Is that correct, Cortek?
I heard from this overseas report going, what the hell is this report from Sydney, who tuned into local TV or something, about people saying, this I don't know who this person was, some scapegoat at the end of the day who can't be named or blamed, I guess, and she's saying, even if you see your friends up at the shops, don't stop and talk to them. Don't stop. Yeah. Don't stop.
The chief health minister or some crap.
And then she's saying, there's some suburbs out in Western Sydney that people aren't allowed out of their suburbs. They're really trying it on. And models that work here and there in different places are adopted in other places, I guess.
Yeah, and
somehow.
Go ahead, sorry.
Oh, sorry. Well, it's like somehow if you wear a mask and a face shield and all this and gloves and sanitizer, it's like you're smarter. They have this air of like,
there's such an air of righteousness.
Yeah, this is me to show that I'm smarter than you, and I know science, and I take things seriously. It's like
the data is
so do I.
The data is that the mask will stop you from someone spitting in your mouth, but anything smaller than that, it can still get through. It's a waste of time. It's stupid.
Like what I find fascinating is apart from taking the jab or not taking the jab, 99% of people that have chosen one or the other, they're exactly the same. It's about health and blah, 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 blah. But the only difference is having the shot or not having the shot. That's the only difference. It's fascinating where because the media and the governments have tapped into that primal fear of death, and that's what they're pushing. Where like Dave Rubin did a video about Sydney, where 80,000 tests, 141 cases, 1 death. Let's lock down the entire state.
It's still unproportionate to the risk. If we have people and sections that of people that we know are at risk from something that really should have its own natural entropy, and really honestly, if we're really narrowing things down, can only really be assumed at this point to be redistributed for this thing to go on. Not to mention Carrie Mullis, who invented PCR tests. Go on to Odyssey, check out what he has to say about Fauci. My God, this whole thing.
Well, that's the other thing as well.
Joe.
Yeah, we're not saying ignore everything, because tuberculosis technically is a pandemic. Influenza technically is a pandemic.
I know people who have had relatives of theirs who have died from this over in the UK, kind of thing. So there's stuff going around. This is no well, it's not happening kind of debate. This is something like this that should have a natural entropy and die out. We would have to be assumed, if it's still going on, that it is being redistributed a la 12 Monkeys style. Well, at week 71, we have to jump to the biggest conclusion that we can, and we would be stupid not to talk like that, because it just wastes time.
And if we go a little bit woo-woo, what if by ramping up the fear, which affects the immune system, because once you're in a negative level of that, you're more susceptible to other stuff. And if you're constantly in lockdown, which is basically house arrest, and this is your constant fear being pumped out, and you get a normal cold, and you may not be able to fend it off because you're in a lower state.
How normal must people who have been convicted to be under house arrest for 5 years might feel? I'm like, oh, well, everyone's doing it now. Well, not so bad. I keep forgetting there's a pandemic going on. I sort of know because I have to do some research for this show. That's right. Now, the latest is something a bit odd, where apparently now they're going after memes. So the alt-right are using humor, and so anyone that has inappropriate memes will be targeted. That's hilarious. Is that real? Because I heard Russia was trying to ban memes too.
Oh, they're trying to do it because they think there's all this hatred. Anyone that's basically, if you don't agree with the left, everyone is right-leaning, not correct.
Yeah, that is confusing.
And it's like, really? And for whatever reason, the right, anyone that is full of hatred, they're right-wing. You're going to a duality and then just saying, well,
generalizing terribly.
You can't even use left and right. You can't even use this old school terminology anymore, and even really be half accurate about what you're talking about.
And how many people have? I'm centrist now, because I'm left, but the goalposts have just got into a taxi and driven out of the stadium. Anyone left of Stalin is right. Like, it's and it's divide and conquering without actually allowing science. Like I've mentioned it a couple of times. Imagine if we treated whatever is going on from a health perspective instead of political. Because have you seen that's come out in the last 6 months or just this year, where because Trump was in office, anything that Trump was correct about, they just ignored, and they waited till he left. And like the the Droxy, that may actually work, but why didn't you say this last year? Trump was in and we didn't want to be aligned. So half of this stuff that's been happening with the pandemic lockdowns, it's been political, and it's not based on health. Like, I think it's the first time in history we've quarantined the healthy. Of course, the survival rate's 99.94% possibility of it.
Yeah. None of it makes so little sense. It's ridiculous. And it's that whole thing, make the lie super big, keep repeating it. And generally, most people would just want to kind of put their head in the sand about it, and
everyone
just goes away.
Everyone that went to the protests are selfish and it's self-defeating, and it's like, but it's medical tyranny, and it's like, but we need to save grandma. It's like, it's week 71, and it's going to continue on. If you keep complying, it's going to go on forever.
Yeah,
And
Facebook's getting worse in terms of not just its censorship now, but it's propaganda. It's propaganda.
Yeah. Well, did you see
out propaganda of the horse punch kind of thing?
Did you see Prime Minister of New Zealand basically saying, "We will tell the truth with COVID. Don't go anywhere else. Only go to our website." And it's like, gee,
that's like putting a sign out the front of your shop and saying "Best Pie in Australia." Who's going to check?
Yeah, well, or McDonald's, we use 100% beef. It's like, yeah, that's the name of the company.
Beef.
Wink. I don't like the wink sign now. Wink emoji.
Who wrote 1984? I can't remember his name.
George Orwell.
Orwell.
Yeah, George Orwell. He's actually got a swing set in his grave now because he's spinning so much.
He's just spinning so fast. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a
quantum computer at this point.
He's got his own gravitational pull because it's just spinning around and around and around.
Nazis are looking into his technology.
Exactly. Yeah, the Thrill Society is like, hey, he knows much more. You should go too. Talk to him.
Just go lay down on the grass near his grave is this amazing pool of energy.
Go back in time.
Yeah, you regenerate and all the cells come back.
He was buried in Switzerland, where CERN is. Actually. So that's what. No, I'm joking.
What I find amusing is Karl Marx. There's a museum to him. That's not the funny part, but they charge money for you to get in.
No, but where is it?
England. He's very English.
Okay, in London. Yeah. He was born in the Bronx too.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And he wrote for the New York Times. He was called Karl Marx with a C. He was basically he was just a journalist that was used.
What year was that? Wouldn't want to seem like a German at that point, probably.
Oh, he's very prolific around in the 1860s when he wrote like Das Kapital and all that horse hockey.
Oh, wow.
But it was basically Engels that wrote that. And I've read all 3 volumes of it. And it's basically just like reading Adam Smith, Wealth of Nations. It's the same. Capitalism and communism extremes are very similar, very similar. Yeah. But he breaks it down into, constituent parts and very materialistically and stuff.
Well, you kind of need...
It's Engels. It's more Engels than Marx, because Engels hired Marx to be sort of the spokesperson behind his theories and so on.
Well, that's pretty interesting. Didn't something like happen with Charles Darwin? He released his book about the thing, and then he wasn't happy with the book, and then this whole movement started going up, and it's like, yeah, you people are stuffed.
Mathis,
and so Darwin gets and so Darwin gets a bad rap because someone's taken there was a group of 3 families. Took on board the one was Huxley. I can't remember the other 2. They only interbred with each other, and by the third generation, they started getting deformities because the gene pool wasn't big enough. Right. It's you learned that the hard way.
And they promoted, and they were the ones that promoted what? Natural selection, Yeah. And it's like, and a lot of these British elites actually came from this. They actually thought they were going to produce through natural selection and breeding, basically, and just breeding with each other, like the Ubermensch, this new evolved person. And in fact, they thought that was Charles Darwin himself. That when he thought he was this, it's interesting, and the Huxleys are in it as well. But yeah, great story.
It's interesting where it's like, well, hang on, what do we know about our history, which is all over the place, but evolution and survival of the fittest. Well, the crocodile, the crocodile hasn't changed for 100,000 years. So nature, obviously, there's a point where like, no, I'm fine. I don't have to evolve. I could have improvements like
predator.
Like that. When people wrestle alligators and crocodiles. Make sure the mouth is closed because they've got 145 muscles to clamp down on their prey, but they've only got 3 to open it. So it's the weakest,
and only 2 for a tear.
Yeah, basically, yeah. So it's there's too much It's not
Although
black
I
and
did
white.
see a
There's they keep going. Nature's full of duality. Like the hell it is.
I love
Yeah,
seeing people get up and close and personal with alligators or crocodiles, Australian crocodiles. The last thing I saw was this dude. He was, must know this crocodile. It was about 3.5 meters long, huge girth of about half a meter, just sitting in this kind of bridge bit of road. And he's just kind of going, "Go on, get off the road, go on." And the thing's got a mouth that's about 1 meter long. I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's what we keep amazing people on this show. You're Australians. Doesn't everything want to kill you? No, 60% of the wildlife wants to kill you. The other 40% wants to, but they can't.
There's always a deadly spider within 6 meters of them.
Yeah, but there's just an element of you live with the nature type of thing of like leave them alone.
Yeah, be nice to them. Put out good energy. They're just trying to just have a nice time like you are.
Yeah, exactly. It's, you don't go up to the sleeping bear with a pointy stick going, hey, do something.
I did once poke a 4 meter black brown snake with a stick because it wasn't moving. It had just eaten, and it was the stupidest thing basically I've done in my entire life.
Yeah, and survived.
Yeah.
Someone actually shared a meme of the shark. The Jaws movie poster where it's got the swimmer and the shark with its mouth coming up from the bottom, and someone's gone unvaccinated, and it's a duck floating on the top, and a shark which says Delta variant coming up to eat the duck, and someone commented underneath like, this is pretty true because it's a 1 in 4 million chance you'll be attacked by a shark.
I'll bring the data out. Kablow.
We're gonna need a bigger boat.
Yeah. So what I find interesting is that as we continue on, we're holding the line energetically. You don't have to go out and fight, but you can do a peaceful protest or just even not play into the energy of like,
it's reasonable. It's reasonable to say I will not be blackmailed.
Yeah, I do not consent. And by holding that energy, the narrative is slowly falling apart because there are people living in fear, but a lot of people are going, well, hang on, because they keep making mistakes.
There's a lot of people waking up.
Yeah, it's like, well, hang on, why should their actions don't match their words? There's the whole economic side of things, if you want to bring that in now, where is the cure more dangerous than the disease? How many businesses have closed? Suicides up. Mental health is going through the roof. And, if everyone can't pay rent and they're homeless, but you're still alive, yeah, great. Now I'm homeless.
They just killed so many small to middle sized businesses. It's ridiculous. John C. sent me a video of New York, and he's just this dude walking down the street just going, empty shop, empty shop for lease, empty shop.
Yeah, and in Victoria, like we're coming out of our 5th lockdown, and the only reason we keep going into lockdowns is because someone outside of the state comes in with a version of the disease.
Oh, geez, and then someone will pop up and go, I've got the cure for that, a big old wall. Oh, that'll save us. Oh, don't keep going. Jesus.
Yeah. Because the entire army's in hazmat suits. That's going to do well for combat.
Social distance.
Yeah, social distance. Yeah, I like when people come up. You should be wearing a mask. You should be social distancing. Get out of my face.
Hey, it's a good thing that in the Olympics and the fencers, no one's.
I watched a bit of. I watched a bit of fencing. It was what's the heavier?
They like getting jabbed.
What's the heavier kind of gauge after fencing? Because fencing just seems so floppy, doesn't it? It's a rapier, maybe?
Yeah, a foil.
Foil, yeah. It's a foil, the really flingy ones they were using, because there's like different.
Yeah, it's very They don't have like
they don't have as much flex.
Strangely enough, they don't have broadsword fighting.
They should. They should, just like they brought skateboarding into the Olympics. They should bring in something that people want to watch.
I could see Scotland winning all the medals. Yeah. Like, you can take my freedom. Come here, you bastard! Hey. 3-meter broadsword.
But I mean, Olympics is going to have to change to keep people interested, and I'd like to see a version where people are allowed to take whatever they wanted to make their body whatever it wanted to, whatever they wanted it to be to do that task. I want to see, my dream is just, I want to see the 100 meters done sub 5 seconds, and then just as he's kind of crossing the line and his kind of torso and hand crosses that line, that last bit, his calves just go and explode all over his competitors' faces.
I had an idea for making football more exciting. Is you give each team an archer with 3 arrows.
Would he stand next to the goalie, or would he just pop around and be able to turn 360 in that middle little circle?
Oh no, they're on the field. They're they're in the stands, but they've only got 3. Yeah, so they could take out an opposition player or deflate the ball.
I think they've got to be on the field, but in funny Robin Hood outfits, and dance around a jig if ball comes near them.
But I'm not
Sounds
a fan
like
of
an
sports.
Aztec ritual.
Yeah,
It does. All we need is some stone courts with some funny shaped sideways hoops.
Yeah, and the winner gets his head chopped off.
Yeah, but I wouldn't surprise if they go to violence to try and get. But
right.
People aren't allowed to create. That's the kind of on a base level. We're co-creators. We create things, and if you notice people that like Dylan or Bob Dylan, not a guy called Dylan. Well, I'm sure there's a guy called Dylan, but
you mean Dylan Johnson?
Oh, Dylan Thomas.
Dylan Jefferson.
All these people that if they're creative, they're happier with life. Even you don't have to become Metallica, but there's some people that just play acoustic at the local pub once a month, and they enjoy life completely because they've got that outlet of actually you find your passion.
Freedom.
We are all creators. We just need to tap into it, and that's why even in the smallest thing that we create, it makes us happy to do so.
Yeah, for a while there, I was, 20 years, I was hiding in the cracks of the system. I was being creative of staying, because I was unemployed for 10 years. And someone pointed that out to me, crap, they're on to me. You've been unemployed for 586 weeks.
Quick, look busy.
Cool. Yeah, all right, let's go. So we do live in interesting times, bloody Japanese, Chinese. But we're getting to the point where something's going to happen. You can sort of feel it in the background where either they go full-blown Nazi-esque New World Order, and that'll only last 8 months because everyone's like, you know what? I don't like living like shite. Or finally a major corruption scandal breaks, and a lot of people, the evidence is so glaring that people will go, well, hang on, that's wrong.
This should be enough, I think, to do it. It should be.
Or it could be a cat video that wakes everyone up and is like, oh, look at the cat. So we'll see.
I think there's a lot of people sitting around being quite polite about this. Everyone wants to do the right thing, in case, worst possible case scenario kind of thing. But everyone at this point is being quite polite.
Yeah. I 5 years ago, I kept meeting people. They know some of this stuff that we talk about, and they don't want to be on the front line of a protest burning things down, but they know, and so there's sort of like a sleeper cell.
They can feel in their heart that something's not right. The whole Matrix thing. Yeah.
And it's that basic thing. As I mangled the idea, but the whole thing about the United States, where all men created equal. Once everyone realizes that, everything will be all right. Because the corruption, you know what I mean, the corruption, and that wound will be healed, type thing. Like here in Australia, I would say the most marginalised group of people are actually the First Nations. Everyone else sort of have
continuously.
Yeah, they're sort of the enemy for whatever reason, type thing, and yet everyone else gets along. Where we started out as a Christian country, but we're multicultural across the board. Like there's a suburb in Melbourne called Dandenong. Don't go there. 180 countries are represented, and I think there's 250 languages spoken in that suburb alone.
Crazy.
And they haven't killed each other yet.
I would love to see. I mean, there's a fair bit of respect now that there wasn't before, and by local councils that talking about when they make a speech, generally they talk about the name and stuff like that. But I mean, all research points towards these originals are the oldest surviving kind of race on the planet. Like, what can we learn?
Civilization, yes.
Yes. Yeah.
I do like, we acknowledge the traditional owners, and someone said we'll give it back then.
Yeah.
But there are
great call. I'm going to hold on to that one.
The UN's like they're trying to give back native title to all the originals, and it's like, well, that could be used negatively where you won't own any property. But the thing is, here in Australia, there was colonization. It's a stupid term, but there was a soft genocide. I mean, it's genocide.
It's genocide.
Yeah,
it was attempted genocide.
There's less originals now than there was 200 years ago. So it's a soft genocide. However, Australia is the way it is because of everyone involved. And so there should be a treaty. There was a colonization, invasion, genocide, wars. Unfortunately, the Aboriginal people were conquered.
I'm
not grandstanding about that. That's what happened. Now, there should be a treaty so we can all move on and create Australia being totally awesome. And that's not ignoring the native culture and everything else like that. Like, we shouldn't have to label everything where all these words, you think Welsh is bad. Some of the...
You ever seen it on a road sign? You look at it and you go, what?
Did someone drop a Scrabble box? And
it's all the letters, but they're in weird order.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's not the 180 of, we should remove it from our history at all. Like Anzac Day, which is our Memorial Day here in New Zealand and Australia, where we honour our veterans and military. They won't acknowledge the frontier wars, where the British were fighting with the native tribes, and it's like, well, that's highly disrespectful because I mean, if you want to if you want pure Australian, I think the tribes that were here for 100,000 years, they're kind of, although they weren't the first, they were here for 100,000 years. I think they have a right to be called Australians. And so it's conversation. There should be a treaty, because I know I've seen one or two Aboriginal elders pointing out, like, since 1788, when the European or the British turned up and didn't leave, Australia is the way it is because of both cultures. And obviously it didn't work out that well. That's what I was thinking. But you know what I mean? It's like, why can't we absorb any other type of culture? That's the Australian way. Like, come to Australia, bring all your good bits and leave all your bad bits behind. No, we really said leave your bad bits behind. But there's this gulf, or this vast chasm between the originals and the European colony, if we can say it loosely, but because everyone lives here now. And so we just have to bring the Aboriginals back into the fold of being Australian, treated equally and celebrating all their awesome stuff, because they have a lot of awesome. They know what to do with the bushfires, for starters.
I totally agree. My hope is that their culture has not been so totally corrupted by Western culture that we can still learn some stuff. I kind of a kind of parallel kind of thing was once Terence McKenna gave a talk where he had some kind of dream where the South American nations had more, and with their pharmaceutical knowledge and all kind of stuff like that, had more influence than. It was like some kind of dream, or just situational thinking about if the Christian church was never involved, what force might have come up and been strong as well. And it was the culmination of a planet kind of that had a far more spiritual side, but a far more personal spiritual side, because of the things that in the rituals that are done over there with the different plants to explore consciousness.
Well, see, this is where the corruption kicks in from the medical system and corporations, which we're talking about nations, but these they're referred to now as globalists, but 100 years ago they were internationalists, and they just happen. Most of them seem to be Caucasian white men. But the thing is, when you use that label, everyone thinks that every Caucasian white man is evil. It's like, well, no, we're treated like crap too. Look at the Irish. The Irish were treated like utter crap by.
Can I? Sorry.
Yes.
I was going to say, can I just say something when we're looking at people? Do those guys over in Saudi Arabia, some of them just look like white guys with towels on their head? Is it just me, or are some of them Caucasians trying to pass? Like in the early, who's the Kojak guy? Whatever that guy's name is, when he was in
Terry Savalas.
Terry Savalas, when he was in those early films, and they would be doing something supposedly over in the desert kind of thing, and there would be a lot of people kind of, with a bit of boot polish on their face that weren't really of that persuasion. It was quite obvious.
That's movie magic. That's movie magic type thing. But I mean, if you want to look at we're a different race, it's like the Israelis look very pale. Have you noticed? Because they're all from Khazaria, which is up in Russia type thing, and apparently, you're anti-Semitic. It's like, well, I'm not insulting the Arabs, because that's what that is. So,
tricky business still going on over there.
Yeah, but it's the way they're treating the Palestinians, and it's a form of genocide. But we're getting to the point, there should be justice in the world, but there is no one to back up the accountability. If the United States actually
there's no one to make people accountable.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, nothing to do a whole. If there was a white collar division of a Justice Department in the United States and actually enforce the law, you would probably it would take 3 court cases, and you'll realize, oh crap, we can't get away with this stuff anyway.
Oh, and that's got corrupted as well.
Yeah, well, that's like, as an example, if the Clintons went down, it won't happen for a while because they're so connected. But if someone at that level, you'll notice that if the United States actually started tackling corruption and just took it down 20%, life on Earth could get really good. But the example, if there's court cases in the United States and they hit 3 major people that are like, well, hang on, they can't get away with it anymore. You'll notice the rest of the planet start going, you know what, we'll stop doing this now, because there's that accountability for the criminality.
Are you familiar with the term shitting bricks? Because I think generally that's why there is so little communication, so many people trying to look busy, making their own interpretation of what's going on, because there is so little and little thought about which way forward. I think they're at a point where they wanted to get to for a long time, but 2020 showed us which companies and which politics we can and can't trust. Pretty much killed the idea of any kind of democracy.
Well, that's sort of what's going on with the division, that no one can have a conversation. You've been on this show long enough to know that. I just want to have a chat. And people are just stuck in their belief engines, and they won't accept new information. And it's like, really? Well, like in the United States, can you imagine having a Republican and a Democrat sit down and have a conversation about something? They just instantly get defensive and yelling and throw chairs. Go ahead, Brandon.
Nowadays, yeah, but it used to be that would happen. You know? Look at Tip O'Neill, Speaker of the House, and his relationship with Ronald Reagan, a Republican. They work together. But nowadays, it's just evolved into the bad reality TV show.
Yeah, and also it's like it used to be a 2-party system, but if you look at it long enough, it seems to be a mono-party.
The 2-party system's only a 2-party system to limit view anyway.
Yeah, I know that, but now
there's 2 wings of the business class.
Yeah, like here in Australia, you have the Conservatives who call themselves liberal. Well done, guys. And then you have Labor, and they're basically, because they're trying, and they're 83% saying the same things, trying to get people's votes. While splitting.
Neither of
between
them have any. Neither of them have any ideas. No one's got any ideas. No one seems allowed even to talk about any positive ideas forward that aren't part of the agenda.
They keep saying, "Oh, we have to ban plastic straws and plastic bags." Well, we don't have to ban the idea of a plastic bag or a plastic straw. We should stop making petrochemical plastics. But
let's think about the idea, but let's not overextend ourselves on, which is any new power overextends itself, and that's where we are.
You can, instead of oil-based, you can make it out of abaca or hemp or this other, there's natural ways of doing it, but it's just like, we have to ban straws. Well, why? What? The idea of a straw is not, you can make it a bamboo as well.
That in Santa Barbara, where I was living.
Yeah, and it's that level. Instead of actually, thinking about finding solutions, it's like, we have to ban straws because we have to save the turtles. Stop making petrochemical. I mean,
turtles. Yeah.
I know. I just picked a turtle, all right?
I know. I understand them.
The Northern Pacific patch, which is, I think, bigger than Belgium. And it's breaking down as well.
Is that plastic island? That just
that's what I want to do is rope it together. And,
huge.
Yeah. But the thing is, I found out watching a Joe Rogan thing is that because it's in the sun, however long a day, it's breaking down, so it can't be scooped up because it's getting down to the molecule type of thing.
That's not the good news. That's not the good news I was hoping for.
No, but the thing is,
I thought there was an Australian guy who came up with a thing that could kind of scoop it up.
Yeah, there's a guy. He's from Holland, I believe. He's like Greta Thunberg, but good. Borland, someone or something like. He was on. He's only a couple of years older than Greta, but he's actually made a thing where he can scoop it up. He's actually doing stuff.
He's actually done something.
Yeah, he is doing stuff, but he's ignored. An example of what level we're at is like, all these billionaires are going to space instead of spending the money on, stop starvation.
Did you see that they don't get their astronaut wings because you need to be a pilot or a crew.
Yeah, but really, that's the level we're at. Yeah, like
suck it, billionaires.
Yeah, that's one for the good guy. Like, really? God, that seems petty.
There's that other meme of two buttons there and the finger hovering over them. One says feed the world, and the other one says muck around in space for 10 minutes.
Yeah, I saw one that was like Bezos was like up in space, quote unquote, for like 16 minutes. Which is as long as a lunch break at one of his workers.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's the other thing. It's like, let's blame capitalism. We don't have true capitalism because the Federal Reserve. No. It's we've got oligarchic, if that's the word.
Yeah, fascism almost.
Yeah, it's almost fascism as well. Yeah.
It is. Don't dance around the bush. It's week 71 of 2 weeks. Come on, Jesus.
Yeah, all right. Fine, sorry. It's the fascists. It's all about.
It's corporate.
It's a rich tapestry of fascism.
Yeah, and the
cortocracy,
Yeah, and it's like instead of actually, but then you have people say like Metallica or Muse or some other people where they're generally earning the money because they're good at what they do, and it's like, we have to tax the rich. It's like, well,
right.
Just enforce the laws that you already have.
Yeah,
you'd be amazed what happens there.
Just make them, but make most companies pay normal tax, no matter wherever they are in the world.
Yeah, and even if you remove the central banking system, you'll notice that prices will drop 2/3 because there isn't that constant paying the debt type of thing.
I think this is a major contributor to this air quotes millennial crisis. Not being able to get into the property market.
Yeah, well,
that's why they put their money in Bitcoin.
Yeah, and if you, I think there's an element that's why Cuba's going off as well, because the global system is crunching in so hard that even a communist country is feeling the pinch, and they would feel it really hard because of the framework they already have.
There's a move out of the cities, definitely. It has been since the very start, and people started going, well, I'm working from home, I might as well do it somewhere nice. Yeah. And then people, expanding that. Why shouldn't they? I see cities as being this just example of a corporate structure trying to keep everything where it can see it's actually doing the job it's being paid for.
There is, the system's broken. No, the system's working perfectly fine. It doesn't work for you. A friend shared a meme where apparently the bank doesn't think I'm able to pay $950 on a loan a month because I'm paying $1,400 in rent.
Yeah.
Like there's like real, because if I've thought about it. I mean, obviously I don't have a deposit and all that type of stuff, but if you can find a bank loan where you're paying the same as your rent, well, guess what? You're paying off the bank and you can own a house.
It's weird in Australia. You can't do that in Australia. In the UK, it's very different, and it's quite easy to get a loan on a house, and then the rent on that house being able to just completely take care of the mortgage. Australia has never been that way, or of that model, or that easy to do things.
What I think people find that there's an element of defeatist attitude is it's so great, but there's just so many simple ideas. Like the way to save humanity, the information is already out there in the general public, but it's been ignored. And there's the corruption and everything else like that. Like, as an example, I'll go back to it. There's 2 treatments that can help people with COVID, but they're banned here in Australia. And that just, in the conspiracy world, it's like, well, hang on a moment. Why is that? It seems very shifty.
So it's no one's fault, but we all have to do it together. And really, if we're there without other people, it's very 2020 to not want to get into a conversation about stuff like this. But I think there's no other way through it.
Yeah, and there's the other thing of just move to a better country and be self-sufficient. Yeah, but where? There isn't anywhere to go now,
and that's just putting your head in the sand as well. Anyway,
in a certain way, it's tap into your inner self and find what is the right way of doing it. Like I'm trying to earn money via doing shows like this and have products and be online. And if I get $10 from 3,000 people, I'm okay for a year. And if I've got contact to 3.5 billion people, I'm sure I can get 3,000 people.
It's just about finding those passive income digitally.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's opportunity
none of them
out
are
there.
a lot by themselves, but they add up.
Yeah, there are ways of doing it. And so it's not the end of the world. It's the end of the old world, which was full of crap anyway.
Thank goodness.
And we're in that transition. That's basically where we're at. So now we're at the end of Planet Collingwood. I'd like to thank all my guests, Pony, Brandon, Cortek, and Hijacker.
Thank you, Martha.
A special acknowledgement to Santo for popping into the chat room. I believe his first time. Because we hang out on another place, so there you go.
Santa
Claus.
Oh, Santa.
No, Santo. It's an O. Yeah,
What's
it's Australian. I can't remember right off the top of my head. Yeah.
Is it?
No, it's not Bonacci.
Okay.
He's cranky. He dropped off me. Flat Earth, you're all ballers. Like, yeah, calm down, mate. Just chillax. I mean, we do live in a placebo universe, and your belief unfolds. Yeah, exactly. So I hope we made you laugh and we shared some information. There is an element of hope because the way the universe works with responsibility, it's up to you to find it. We're not here to. That's what I'm here for.
No one else is going to do it yourself.
Yes. So, well, Brandon, where can people find you quickly?
Oh, nowhere.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you for that.
Right here. Yeah, you can find me here.
Sweet.
I try to make a commitment at least to Monty and this show and you guys because I have such a good time.
Yeah, excellent.
Just find me right here on Revolution Radio.
Now, you're most welcome to stick around because Pony, you want to go for a run after the break, don't you?
Let me free.
We're going to open the gates.
Yeah,
Cool.
So we'll let Pony code for a bit, so not interrupt. But I think I know Cortek and Pony work.
And I'll take the server. That's how that works.
No, we'll just stay on this call, so I can.
No, I can't have you watching me. egotistical masturbate all over the air for that period of time.
Do you have this server's contact?
Yes.
Oh, well, there you go. All right then. Well, I'll end the call and then Pony can
I've just
kick
ruined everything. So.
Yeah, swine.
No pressure.
Yeah.
Swine.
But yeah, I mean, Brandon and Cortek send a message to Pony because Pony and Cortek work really well together. So just because Pony, sometimes it's happened to me where I come with a thought and you spin off for 45 minutes on code because of going, yeah, well, what about a frog? Well, Kermit, blah, 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 blah. So
changes everything.
Yeah. So,
well, I'll be catching the red eye tonight, that's for sure.
Yeah. So, but the thing is, Pony's open to information, and then he may not accept it, but at least he's open to us. Like, oh, really, oranges? Yeah, not a fan. Instead of like, oh, I don't like fruit.
Best word to rhyme on another word too.
This is what you call hype. It's good.
Well, just bring me in, guys. I don't know. I'm not good with the technology.
Yeah, I don't know either.
What? You're breaking up.
You're going through a tunnel. We'll be back anyway. Oh, is there music? There should be music by now. Anyway, that was Planet Collingwood. We'll be back in 6 days and 22 hours. Stick around for the after party. My name is Monty Dean. I can be found on 17 different platforms because of big tech censorship. If you enjoyed the show, there's a PAL Pay button to help me pay rent. Share, like, subscribe. You're on YouTube. Hey, I'm still here. Thank you, callers. Thank you, chatters. Thank you, ball boys, ball women, all the men, all the women, and everyone in between. We'll be back soon. Have fun, everyone. I love you, but from afar.